on the judiciary, do you believe that the administration should respect the judicial decisions that are coming down about his orders on agencies?
I believe in the institution of the federal judiciary. I believe in its legitimacy. I don't always agree with opinions that are issued. That's not an unusual circumstances. People have been politicians and lawyers and not every American, but many Americans have been disagreeing and complaining about the results in a lawsuit since God was a corporal. I mean, that's a lawsuit. When you have a lawsuit, somebody wins and somebody loses. But I support the process and I support the legitimacy of the federal judiciary. If you disagree, and many people, I've disagreed with opinions before, that's why God made courts of appeal, and that's why God made the U.S. Supreme Court. But you're never going to hear me attack the legitimacy of the federal judiciary. That's what many of, not all, but many of my Democratic colleagues did when the Supreme Court handed down the Dobbs decision, for example. There were a lot of people that made it very personal against the Supreme Court justices and wanted to pack the Supreme Court and all that sort of stuff. I don't believe in that. We've got the federal judiciary is not perfect, and again, I've been reading judicial opinions since, I don't know, 1973. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But if you disagree, you file an appeal.
Senator, you're on the Budget Committee. There's going to be a markup tomorrow that Senator Lindsey Graham is leading. Do you think the Senate should be taking the first step in this reconciliation process?
Well, a couple of points. This is not a competition. That's number one. Number two, I had a long visit with Speaker Johnson and Leader Scalise this weekend. I believe the House will get it worked out. I believe they'll do a single bill. They're probably going to have to enlist the help of the president to gather up some of the free-range chickens that have wandered off. But I believe that. I think it may. It's not going to happen by Friday because the House on the Republican side is such a diverse group. But I think it's doable and will be done. Having said that, Senator Graham, for example, and others think it's important that the Senate get started. If we put together the first of several reconciliation bills before the House does its bill, Speaker Johnson can always just put ours on the shelf. But let me say this about the Senate effort. What we're going to do this week in terms of a resolution is just patty cake. That's the easy part, where you do a resolution. Then the real work starts. All the authorizing committees have got to come up with the changes, including but not limited to the pay-fors and the spending cuts. I don't believe, and there's a lot of debate by many people about how much to cut. I do not believe, and this is just one person's opinion, I do not believe that a reconciliation bill will pass with Republican votes in either the Senate or the House unless there are substantial spending reductions. Now, you can debate what substantial is, but I believe that 3 weeks ago, and I especially believe it today after Mr. Musk's efforts and the fact that he's found so much spending for him. I think the American people are going to demand that we reduce spending. Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious, when it comes to the lawsuits against the Trump administration.
The lawsuits?
Yeah. When it comes to those, how much do you think President Trump can get done if he keeps getting these, roadblocks in place?
We'll get it all done. It may take a little bit longer. Well, this is not unexpected. That's the way that many of his opponents are going to try to attack him, is through the courts. But again, you file your answer to the lawsuit, and if you lose in the district court, you go to the Court of Appeal, and if you lose in the Court of Appeal, you go to the United States Supreme Court. That's the process. It can be frustrating sometimes, but I don't personally believe in attacking the legitimacy of our federal judiciary as an institution. Now, do they give me the red ass sometimes? Sure. I disagree with opinions all the time, but that doesn't mean I disagree with the process of the system.
Do you think it's a good idea to get rid of the penny?
My understanding, I haven't researched it, my understanding is it costs 4 cents to make 1 cent.
2 cents, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like, doesn't sound like a good deal to me. It sounds like something Washington would come up with. So I think we probably ought to get rid of it.
Senator, are you worried about the NIH cuts for research impacting state universities?
These cuts aren't permanent. You know that. What the administration has done is what any responsible administration should do. It's what any CEO of any company would do. If the CEO was just taking taking the company over, you freeze everything until you can have a chance to survey the landscape and analyze your spending and your profits and your losses if you're in the private sector. That's all President Trump's doing. Look, this rhetoric that NIH grants are going to end and that the world is going to spin off its axis, that's all a bunch of nonsense. This is all coming, the people, this is about reducing spending and finding spending porn and stopping it. And predictably, some of my colleagues have sided with the bureaucrats and the spending porn over the American taxpayer. I saw them do the same thing in terms of immigration. The same group sided with illegal immigration over the rule of law. The same group supports Hamas over Israel. The same group believes that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. They support criminals over cops. I mean, this is not unusual. I'm with the taxpayers. I'm delighted with what Mr. Musk and others have done and will continue to do. There's a lot of spending porn that they're finding, and we need to chase it down, pin it down, and choke it to death, and stop it. It's an insult to the American people, and I find it very strange that this is a hill that many of my Democratic colleagues are willing to die on. I don't see anybody can support this kind of waste. One of my colleagues said they may shut down government over it. They're so upset, and I just don't think that's what the American people support, and I don't think it's. I don't think common sense supports it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Senator.
Senator.
Is that it? All right.
What did you think of the game last night?
It was a good game. I mean, I got to I was down there and, had to spend a lot of time shaking hands and kissing babies and taking photos and all that. But I got to finally concentrate and watch it. And, Philadelphia's got a great ball club. Got a great ball club. And in a funny way, I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are a great team too. I think Mahomes is a great quarterback. This may turn out to be one of the best things that ever happened to him because it losing humbles you a little bit,
Right.
and it just makes you understand that he's playing at a level where it really is a game of inches, and if you want to be the best there ever was, and he may end up being, you got to work hard every day, and you got to rededicate yourself every day. But that quarterback for Philadelphia isn't too bad himself.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game. Okay?
Thank you.
See you later, guys.